Wake up in the morning, I just gotta get it. Wake up in the morning, I just gotta get it.
All right, welcome everyone to the Schoology Learning Podcast. Thanks for joining us. This is the podcast where we talk about some things we're hearing out in the world about education, as well as some tips and tricks about our favorite platform, which is, of course, Schoology. My name is Kellie Ericka, and I'm joined by my colleague, Ericka Waterman.
Hey, Kelly. I'm so excited for us to take this time. I just remember how fun it was when I was teaching to take the lunchtime or, any little break that we had and just kind of talk with colleagues. So hopefully everyone can join us and just get a little chit chat about education and Schoology while they're at it.
Yeah, so let's get started. Hey, Ericka.
Hey, Kelly. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little bit bummed about postseason baseball.
Ugh,
I know.
yeah.
But the Cubs they just were not ready to go. And at least the Brewers got swept. And sorry if you're a Brewers fan, anyone, but
No.
okay.
Well, yeah, I suppose they exist out there somewhere.
Somewhere like
Yeah.
in Milwaukee. But anyway, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm settling in after the back to school hoopla. That is kind of the craziness of the fall time period. So starting to, just getting in that groove, that winter groove.
Yeah. So something I was thinking about today for just a conversation.
Yeah.
I think you know that before I came to Schoology and PowerSchool, I worked in Cherry Creek schools here in the Denver metro area. And I happened to be on site with them and was working with their instructional tech kind of team because they're rolling out like the included features for Power Buddy. So I was there. But while I was there, we were talking about all the different tools that, Cherry Creek uses and how those are in Schoology. And I was just thinking like, yeah, whenever I would like get a request from a department to like, oh, could we get this in Schoology? It was always such a cool thing to make that the hub and like the ways you could make Schoology like the launching point for so many cool things. And we're partners with One Ed Tech and we're, do a lot with interoperability, but I thought it'd be interesting to kind of get your take and talk about like how is a sausage made actually? Like how does that
Such
happen?
a good question. So I will tell you, I think I say this at least once a podcast, which is I learned so much about Schoology when I took it over that I did not think about. And one of the things I didn't realize was just how crucial these partnerships with other vendors are within Schoology. That Schoology, in my head, it was like everything that you create in Schoology, and you just, that's it. And what I realized is that's actually the minority. The majority of it is somehow you're pulling in content from all these other partners.
Yeah.
So when I really got thrust into you have to start, being able to help and communicate with these partners, I was very fortunate to have met a colleague of ours that we got to invite today. So Clare Stenger is joining us. She was just crucial. I cannot emphasize that enough in helping me kind of understand the partnership world of Schoology, and just really how we work with vendors. So Clare, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here.
Yeah. So if you would give a little rundown, kind of like you had to do for me with like what it is you do, because you reached out to me and I'm like, who is this lady?
Yeah.
And how is she asking me things about Schoology?
Yeah, happy to. So my title here is account manager of strategic partnerships, which means a lot of different things. We wear lots of hats here at PowerSchool. So I oversee all of our ISV partners. So they usually integrate with our student information system. And I would say that's about 80% of the partners I oversee. And then the other 20% are our Schoology partners. And also our team is tied in to the app developer process, which is the very top of the funnel of getting all of our apps in our Schoology App Center.
All right. Well, I'm excited to focus on the most important 20% of your job.
Yes,
Because that's
they
how
are.
I view it. I view the Schoology side as the most important side. But yeah, you're right. We do have this entire process around getting apps created within Schoology. And again, it was something that as I learned, I realized how big of an impact having these apps is, but then also the impact of adding apps and continuing to make sure that the different vendors districts are using are represented in Schoology, as well as making sure that they're updating their app as needed to include the functionality that's necessary. So if you can talk a little bit about, well, because we have, what did we say last count? I think it's over 400 apps that connect to Schoology, which is just mind blowing. It's just mind blowing that there's so many different vendors out there, and we're definitely not done because we keep hearing from vendors who request these developer accounts. But when do they, or how do they like really become a partner and somebody that you work with?
Yeah, so oftentimes we have a form on our PowerSchool website, and vendors will inquire there, third-party software companies that are tied into K-12. And just like you said, Erica, it's always surprising. There's still new and innovative tools that are being created all the time for districts to use. And so often if I notice that they're wanting to connect somehow to Schoology, learn about the LTI tools that we have available and resources, we have documentation that we send them over where they start that process, and they will work closely with your team and get their app up and running in the Schoology App Center and learn a little bit more about Schoology in the process and get a sandbox and dive into all the materials that we have. And then oftentimes outside of that, they want to get to know PowerSchool even better. So either they'll reach out to your team or they'll reach back out to me and inquire about a more formalized partnership with PowerSchool. So that's where my team gets involved in a more formalized way and engages with that third party, and they become a partner sometimes and they're listed on our website. So if you go to the PowerSchool Partners page, you can actually filter by product. So you could filter down into Schoology and you can see all of the Schoology partners that we have there. And that's one of the biggest resources they get as a partner is a lot of marketing tools and enablement tools that they're able to use and, say that they're a PowerSchool partner on their website and get access to technical resources and stay ahead of the roadmap and learn about how Schoology is changing, how can they build their tool and make it even better. So it gives them, we like to say, like a little peek behind the PowerSchool curtain. So they can find out what's happening first and they can stay ahead of the game for their customers.
Yeah, and that was, probably one of the first lessons I had learned from you was just how much, for a while, we had really made it almost opaque of like, you can't know what's happening in Schoology, and then good luck to you as a partner. And Kelly, I don't know if you ever had that happen where you were working with a partner, everything seemed to be going fine, or, an app in Schoology, and then all of a sudden, wait a minute, how come this isn't working the same way before? When you have those situations, I know people are like, who did it? You know what I mean? Is it the vendor that changed something? Is it Schoology that changed something? And so we wanted to, really, I think one of the things you highlighted was the fact we had to find that transparency. How do we make sure that we're letting the vendors know? So if you are out there and you're like, hey, I'm interested in becoming an app developer, we do now offer some resources to try and give you that more transparency of this is what we're releasing and what we're doing. Which is, I think it was a good step forward. Like our community now has a Schoology app developer group, et cetera, just to kind of help bridge that gap between what we're doing in our product and what they may want to do in their product as well.
Yeah. And that app developer group is free for anyone. So you don't have to be a partner to join that. And also partners can help, or vendors can help each other on there too. Like I've seen vendors post questions that may have been previously answered, and other Schoology app developers will chime in with how they, resolve that, or, oh, you can find the answer here. So it is managed by your team, and you're, providing updates to changes, but I've seen them even answer each other's questions. So it's a hopefully will continue to grow, but be a working forum for our app developers and
Agreed.
Schoology. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I mean,
Mm.
I've been going to ISTE for, I don't know, many years before it was even ISTE. And every year I go, somebody stops by the booth and is like, I really want to partner with PowerSchool. Like, what is the process for that? So just even knowing that we have a community,
Mm.
for them. I mean, I didn't know that. So that's great to know. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, because there are times like Schoology on its side doesn't really help develop the apps. Like we help them like here, like Claire, you mentioned, you get the sandbox, you get some information about how to develop within Schoology, but we don't actually help them develop the app because we don't have the expertise, right? They have to
Mhm.
create their own app. But there are times where they get stuck and they'll reach out and we're like, well, we don't know. We've never had to build this before. So having other vendors be able to provide like their learnings, I think it really is how the community was meant to function. That helped out powerschool.com. For those of you who go there for articles or, to access our support team, it was meant to be this place where you could all help each other. And so it's been fun to see that happen from a developer standpoint for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
And
I
then
think go ahead, Claire.
well, I was going to say, one of the advantages, the peek inside the curtain, if you are a
Mhm.
partner, is that you're able to actually log a support case and get, tier 2 technical support from our team. And partners will also sometimes send me their cases. And Erica has been kind enough to open up an office hours. So we get a bunch of our engineers on the call, and Erica's there, I'm there. Sometimes we have customer support cases from our own team, and we will troubleshoot some of those there. Sometimes they're not able to be resolved there, or someone has the answer, and I'm able to get a partner and answer much more quickly through the office hours, and also learn and hear what's going on with other tools. If a partner's opened up a case I didn't know they had, I can kind of keep things on the radar myself, knowing what's going on with everybody.
Yeah, it's so nice to have the vendor actually be able to submit the case and work directly with them. So it is a nice perk of the partnership. Because let me tell you, and Kelly, maybe you've experienced this doing, being involved in what EdTech's, some of the integration certifications that they have. Like One EdTech was really meant to be this, at least the way I understand it. Okay, we have this LTI spec, and we're going to say that this is how everybody should be using it so that we can all, operate with integrations, right? It's like we're going to give you a common language to speak. The problem is that I use the word pop, you use the word soda. They technically mean the same thing, but it's like just a little different. And so really having a better understanding of how that impacts vendors when they're like, oh, that's how you do things. We do things this way, and having to find that common ground. That's been another part that I think has been hugely helpful to have someone like Claire helping us out, to be that, kind of voice to help us understand what we might have to change, what the vendor might have to change, and then how do we grow and get better together? Because ultimately, we want our teachers and our students to be successful. That's the ultimate goal is that they can use these tools as they need to continue the learning.
And I imagine there's some complexity too, depending on the vendor or the partner. I can't imagine like how many variables might be at play with why something may not be working as expected, and like having a process where they have support that they can get tier 2 support. I mean, I'm sure that's really critical for the success of everything. Like,
Yeah.
Kelly, it's like a whole nother language. I feel like I can now say that I speak, English fluently. I speak a little Italian, a little French, and a whole lot of LTI now is what I feel like I can say. And Claire's you just have been so great, Claire, along the way of being patient with me when you're like, hey, the vendor's saying this about their line item. And I say to you, I have no idea what that means, but let me find out. And, we've kind of learned along the way, but it's like another language that these apps use that you have to be familiar with in order to help each other out.
Yeah.
And Claire, for you, I mean, you were an educator, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think it helps that, so and where were you? Where did you in your previous life before PowerSchool?
Feels like 10 lives ago. I was working in Albemarle County Public Schools, in Virginia.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, I was
you know
using
what
a
it's
lot of
like to
these
be on the
tools.
teacher side. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sure that helps with the the translation of the
Yeah.
LTI language to what exactly we need. And I think there are different versions of LTI also, which also gets
Mhm.
confusing because
Sure does.
yeah.
Sure does. Yep.
Yeah.
It's
The
like,
number one, the number one thing that I've heard from a lot of our partners is that as teachers get more and more comfortable with these tools, and we're many years post COVID, and just everyone really turning to using Schoology as their source of truth for their curriculum, how their districts are going to organize all their materials, that what the vendors are telling us and the partners I work with is that districts are pushing, especially some of our largest publishers, to have more and more of their content in Schoology in a way that is easy to pull courses in with the assessments, with the pre-learning materials, and not sending students hither, there, and everywhere to go find things. And so it's becoming more and more important for Schoology and all of these third-party tools and content. Our biggest publishers are districts licensed. And so the teachers are, able to access all these great materials, and they want to have all of that nicely organized inside Schoology so that it just pops right up, and students aren't being sent to lots of various third-party sites, which I think was kind of LTI 1.1
Yeah.
mostly, and now we're moving into a much more intricate embedded materials and links and grade passbacks and all the things that districts are requiring now.
Yeah. And I think it very much at least when I joined, it very much felt like this kind of, I don't know, kind of shoved off to the side of like, yeah, we have vendors and yeah, they use this, but we're not, it's up to them, incorporate their apps. It just kind of felt on the side. And then the more I talked with people and users, Kellie, you're a great example of explaining to me how important these are and that they're not on the side. They're actually a very crucial part to the workflow. It's made me look at how do we make sure that what we're developing in Schoology helps towards that goal. So one of the things, Claire, that has been helpful for me is your willingness to go out and find out what do the vendors need from us. So as the districts are requesting things of them, what are their needs for what we need to change? Because there's so much about these integrations that we can choose to do, we can choose not to do. Some vendors want things one way, some want another. Obviously, we have to find a way that meets the majority of the needs. But it's been very helpful to have you be that voice from the partners and really what would make the biggest impact, right? Because the goal is ultimately, when it comes down to it, I want the students to be able to learn and the teachers to be able to instruct, right? And so it's like, how do you make that happen?
Especially because some of those tools districts pay a lot of money for. And so, I mean, you don't want to have that investment be something that is hard to get to or that doesn't work within where the kids are, learning and doing assignments. Because it is pretty critical, I think, to have as much capabilities as we can. So Claire, for you, are there times of year that things are more, I guess, like active,
good
or is it
question.
throughout the
Yeah.
year that it's just kind of constant?
That's a great question. I think there's times of the year where things get really busy on the Schoology app developer. There's bursts of that, especially like you said, Kellie, after ISTE, right? And all these vendors hear about PowerSchool, like, oh, straight to the source, and we'll get a big uptick of a lot of apps wanting to be developed or new inquiries. And then the largest, biggest, hardest time for partnerships is always the summer and into the fall, because just like PowerSchool is busy making those last minute changes, implementing with the largest districts across the US, so are our partners. And as the school year starts and things maybe don't work, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Then yeah,
I don't know what you're trying to say, Claire.
Yes, they work great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're logging their support tickets and they're trying to get, things working, and it's for the mutual benefit of all of our districts to make these things for our teachers as easy as possible. We all know if it gets to the end of the year and the district says, well, it wasn't used.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Which could be a missed opportunity for sure. Yeah. So whether you are an end user who maybe didn't realize Schoology offered a lot of these integrations, so definitely check out App Center. You can ask your district, like, hey, I'd really like to get this, utilized in courses, et cetera. Or whether you're somebody who's interested in how do I connect what I'm doing in K-12 education with Schoology. There's definitely avenues. And hopefully we only keep getting stronger from here, is kind of how I think of it, is that the more, Claire, I work with you and partners, hopefully the stronger Schoology gets as a whole.
Yeah.
It's what you do, Claire. It's really important. So
thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, it was great.
Well, thanks for joining this episode of the Schoology Learning Podcast. Hope to see you next time where we'll talk about some more topics of interest and, of course, talking about our favorite platform, Schoology.
And in the meantime, if you click on the User Toolbox at the bottom of the Schoology page, there are lots of resources out there, including other episodes of this podcast to listen to. Until next time.
And hope to see you next time. Thanks all.